contract between the village, the Bedouin village of Sira and Friends of Palestine in Orkney goes back now about 13 years, in fact. I first went to Sira in November of 2010 on a study tour with ICAD, the Israeli Committee Against House Demolitions, which is a very commendable Israeli human rights organisation. And we went to Sira and we heard Khalil tell us about the situation there. We made a contact with them. So in the January of 2012, I went back under my own steam and was happy to spend a whole week with Khalil and Saba, his wife, and their family. And we were very happy to get a return visit in 2024. And just by way of introduction, anybody who's been to the videos recently, I mentioned there, what a lot of people don't realise is 1.5 million Palestinians are Israeli citizens. They live in what the United Nations recognises as being Israeli territory. But although they're Israeli citizens, as you'll hear tonight, they are very much second class or even third class Israeli citizens, being discriminated against in all sorts of ways. And so I welcome Khalil here now, who will tell us what life is like and what restrictions there are and so on in the village of Sira. So Khalil, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction. I'm really excited to be here with my wife and visiting Orkney and have this very warm hospitality and welcoming. Thank you very much, Brian and Jackie, for the hospitality really and the welcome. I will try tonight to draw some lines about the life in the unrecognized villages in general, about the Bedouin society, my community, my village. We try to have a small show of inside and see our life and our the challenges that we are facing in our daily life. I hope we will succeed to do that and it will not be very exhausting. So let's start. This is They say, we have deeds, contracts between the family that sell the land and the family that buy the land. And they say, okay, you can continue, just add our postcards or stamps. And my great-grandfather, Hajj Ibrahim, added the stamp. I have the original deed from 1921, 3 years after the British mandate started. And it with the stamps. I have the original one. It's a piece of history, but Israel don't respect it. They say it's a Bedouin family bought from another Bedouin family. But when it comes to buy this land and move it to a kibbutz or a mushab, it becomes legal. It's a different issue. So the Israeli government, when it started, expelled most of the Bedouin to the neighboring Arab countries. Here to Jordan on this side, to Sinai on this side, and even 2 tribes to the West Bank here, the Ka'abne and the Jahalin tribe. Both tribes, they were originally here in Tel Arad area. Where we hear today about the Jahalin, when we hear about Al-Khan Al-Ahmar, I don't know if some of you hear about that or involved in that. It's a group of Bedouins that are near road number 1 that come from Jerusalem to Jericho. This is road number 1. And they are near the road here. And many, many years the government declares and ministers that they need to expel them from there in order to make more space to Malay Adumim, the Israeli settlements there, and Jerusalem, the big Jerusalem. And but the European Union supported the families there. They built their school from tires, old tires, and ash and mud, and so on. And also they have their tin houses that was built by the support of the European Unions and maybe the British government, I don't know. And they always say, no, you cannot demolish the houses. Even that the Supreme High Court in Israel gave them the green line to export them, to expel them from there. But they still there. I hope that they will continue also. This is about the Jahalin. It's a small group of Bedouins that was expelled to the West Bank. The other Bedouins to the neighboring Arab countries, as I said, only 11,000 people remained, survived the Naqab, the disaster. And those were concentrated into this area, which is 10% of the historical land, which we call it the Siyaj area. Siyaj in Arabic is a fence, Siyaj. Even in Hebrew it's the same, Izor Hasaik. And even I found that late in English, the siege area. The same words, even the same in all the languages. So this is the Siyaj area. It is 10% of the Negev. If the Negev is 13 million dunams, it is 1.3 million dunams. It's a good area, and it's big enough for us. But the Israeli government has different plans, and we will see them. No? Okay. Just because I was too happy for that, there's no one working. So here is a document that was released by Churchill when he met the Bedouin tribes in 1921. Delegation of sheikhs of Bedouins that was worried about their future, and they met them, and he promised them that they would not touch their land, and there would not be any problem with them, and they can keep their culture and traditional life and everything. So we said that already, that we didn't have any problems with the British. The problem came after, when the government established. So here, the Siyaj area, remember the Siyaj, the fence area? Now we zoomed in. And here is the Siyaj. It is roughly centered between Beersheba. Beersheba is the district or the capital of the Negev. It's a big city, about 250,000 people now. And here is Arad. and the Dead Sea is here. And Dimona, where we have the nuclear center. If you need to buy some bombs, I can bargain for you. Here is Jerusalem. This is the Siyaj area, where all the Bedouin was displaced and concentrated. My family and some other families was originally in the fence area and is still there. But many other families came from Gaza, from the western Naqab here, that was cleaned out from Bedouins, and the northern Naqab and the southern Naqab, and concentrated here. The people who wasn't expelled was concentrated, was internally displaced. IDPs, we have many IDPs, internally displaced. If you wonder where is Sira, here is Sira near Kseifa. Between Road 31, which is high road today, highway, and the Nevatim airport. It became very famous in the last few days because of the Iranian bombs. They wanted to attack this one because they discovered that it was the base that Israel attacked them from there when they killed their people in Syria, the Iranian. So it was targeted, and we are here. You can imagine we are in the middle of everything. So we see the rockets and the missiles coming over our heads everywhere, and we have any protection because we are in open space. Israel declared all these villages an open space. Anyway, Israel started what they call the urbanization of the Bedouin community from the 1960s, late 60s, 69, 70. They started by building this settlement, which is called Tel Sheva, Tel Saba, near Beersheba, very close to Beersheba. Later in the 70s, they built Rahat. Rahat today is a very big city. It's the largest Arab city in Israel today. It's 80,000 people. They passed Nazareth. Nazareth was the largest one. But Nazareth is still have its way and very, very important. Culturally and socially, very, very important city. But Rahat, in the mean of people and population, is the largest today, about 80,000 people. And then everything is quiet, nothing is moving. 10 years passing, and the government have in the 80s have the peace process and the peace agreement with Egypt, and they're starting building the airport here in the heart of the Siyaj area. You remember the Siyaj, the area that was located for Bedouin or designated for Bedouin families. They decided to build it here. They said, we are withdrawing from Sinai and we need to build an airport here. And they built it. They confiscated 80,000 dunams. Again, you can divide them by 4 and have them in acres. A huge area. And moved the population to Kseifa and Ar'ara here. And at the same time, they built a new settlement here called Negev Shalom, Negev Salam. They have the obsessive tend to Hebraize everything. So some people always tell me that Negev Shalom looks like a Hebrew name. Yes, it is. And here they try to call this Aroer. They say this is in the Bible, have to be Aroer. And the Bedouins said, no, it's Ar'ara. We like the name. Don't change it. And they resisted, and it became stubborn people. And again, we have quite nothing new. Everything is frozen. At the 80s, at the 90s, they started recognizing and building Hora and Lakia, 2 Bedouins. So together we have 7 Bedouin towns, and the government is starting aggressive way of a process to move the Bedouin to these towns. They say that this is your future. This is the life. This is life. You need to move to this. The Bedouin didn't agree. Didn't like the cities. They don't want to be in cities, so they remained in their places. What the government should do? They started demolishing their houses. Up to date, we have about 2,500 demolitions a year. And we can count among that houses, animal pens, everything. A piece of concrete that family prepared to do something, they come and even dig it inside and remove it. In order to, they say that the Bedouin are trespassers and invaders, and if they continue, they can invade all the Negev. And we have to limit them. This is the way they treat Bedouins, the indigenous people of Palestine, Israel. So it continues. If you look carefully, you see beside the green spots here, it is the Bedouin towns, where you have a lot of spots like these, circles. These are the 35 unrecognized villages. You don't need to count them. I will do them for you. 35 unrecognized villages. Originally, they were 45. But what happened? In 2003, we started our struggle and we created what we call the RCUV, the Regional Council for the Unrecognized Villages. It is not regional, not council. It is just an association, organizations, NGO. But we wanted to claim that we are the organization that represent the Bedouin families and the Bedouin tribes who live in unrecognized villages. And we want to promote their recognition and giving them services. This is what we want. We don't want to establish a new state in Israel. We just want to give them services. And Israel didn't like that, and they started recognizing some of the villages. So if you look at the squares here, 1, 2, I don't know how to count all of them, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes, 9, 10. They are 10 newly recognized. They still newly recognized. We are talking about 21 years. From 2003 up to now, none of them have a complete or detailed plan to build their houses. So the people still have home demolitions, and they have like a pirate water pipes running in the sun everywhere, plastic ones, and no services. They built some schools in those villages, but didn't continue or promote their planning and living. They are still under recognition. But it's good, we say always, we believe that it's better than nothing, than the previous situation, but we remained with 35 unrecognized villages. At the last few years, when we have the government that was before Netanyahu, we had like representatives. I don't know how much you are involved in that and you know about the situation. We had the Arab Joint List and the Arab United List, and they supported the government of Lapid and Bennett, if you remember them. They were wiped out very quickly, but they supported them, and in charge of that, or they asked for recognition of new villages, and the government agreed to recognize 3 villages. So now we are talking about not 45, not 35, 32 unrecognized villages. Sira, anyway, is one of them. We will go forward and see. This is the Pravir plan. I don't know if you heard about that. It was about 2013. There was a big demonstration against that, and it was Stop Pravir everywhere in the world, in Europe, in Latin America, everywhere. It's a discriminative plan that aimed to move all, you see the X's here, X, 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 and you can see the arrows everywhere. That means that those villages have to be destroyed and their population have to be moved to another place. The government started the legislation process and it passed the first reading. You know, in the Israeli parliament, Knesset, they need to pass 3 readings. It passed the first reading in very, very tight difference. It's about 42 against 44, something like that. But the European Union again said, this is not fair. You need to talk with those indigenous people and negotiate with them. You don't negotiate with them. And they called Israel to freeze it. The process of legislation have been frozen, but the home demolitions continued in the background. Here is the demolition of Al-Araqib, the most famous Bedouin village, about 35 to 40 houses, about 300 people. You can see here, they are uprooting olive trees. Olive trees. I don't know if you can see that clear here. The hay packs of their animals were burning, was really fired. Here you can see the women are very, very scared and waiting. And here are about 500 policemen that came and surrounded the village at 5 o'clock in the morning with a helicopter running in the air all the time, like they are invading an enemy state or something like that. Anyway, Al-Araqib was destroyed the first time in 2010. From that time up to now, it was destroyed more than 200 times. Every time the families there built their tents and they squeezed them and resized the place, and now you will see them. They live in the cemetery graveyard. This is the sheikh of the tribe. This is Sayyah Hattori, Sheikh Sayyah. You can see them here. His tent is in front of the graves. And he said one thing that I will never forget. He said, this is the only place in the world that the dead people protecting the alive ones. And he's right. He's illiterate. He can't read or write. Very simple man with his traditional dresses and long span. And he is very, very famous. He was charged like 60 times and files against them, and he'd been taken to the court every time. This is his land, and the family's land of Al-Araqib land was taken and forested by the JNF. And you can see is here, I don't know if you can read that, but this is the ambassador's forest. The Swiss ambassador was very anxious and he rejected that and said, we are not part of that. We don't want to be part of that. Ambassadors, we are ambassadors, but not taking part in taking the Bedouin land and so on. So he visited Sira, first one, and the other ones that followed them, and many others, and supported our struggle really always. Here you can see demonstrations with Sayyah, but Sayyah is always here with the lawyer, Shahd ibn Barri, and here he is in the horse all the time, smiling, very optimistic, very courageous person really. Here is another village which is called Atir and al-Hiran. But al-Hiran is very popular, more popular than Atir. They are twin villages. They both are Abul Ki'an tribe and also been demolished several times. And last time they just, here is Attir, you see, very beautiful houses also, with trees, animals and everything. Those people were uprooted from their original lands near Rahat. Their lands was given to the kibbutz, Beit Kama and Shubal. They are cultivating their land. And the people were moved here. You can stay here for 6 months and then you will come back. This is the promise. And Israel used it several times, everywhere. Those 6 months became 60, 70 years and never let the people come back to their land. Then, this is the worst thing. They came and say, you have to move from here. This is a state land. You are trespassers. They said, we are trespassers. It's crazy, really, unbelievable. Adala, I don't know if you heard about Adala. Adala is the legal center for the minority Arab rights in Israel. Adala. Adala in Arabic means justice. And they represented as Sira in our case of demolitions and represented them also. And they could prove that they are not invaders and not trespassers. They were moved by the government. The government, the court said yes. And they were convinced that they are not trespassers. They said, okay, we moved you, you have the right, you have the permit, but you didn't pay for it. So the government have the right to let you out. And finally, after a few years of struggle and killing my colleague there, Yaqub Abul Ki'an, he is a teacher like me, and destroying his house and other houses, and accusing them that he is a terrorist, just because he didn't want to see his house demolished. He went out, left the village. And the way they start shooting his car, and he was injured, and the car continued deteriorating. Then he hit one of the policemen and killed them. Yaqub left in the car, bleeding. After a few hours, they opened the door, and he was there, died. They took his body for 3 days after a long demonstration that closed the road number 1 from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. It's a long road, not only from Jerusalem to Jericho, it's also from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Cars that drive very slowly in a long parade like this and they blocked the road. The police came and gave the people fines, but the High Court was forced to give them give us the body, and the police asked to bury them in the night with 40 people. But he was buried during the day, and about 20,000 people came to pay them respect. This is the story of Yaqub from al-Hiran. So, here is al-Hiran, you can see it, and here is Attir, and you see the plans here. There's a new plan that a new settlement are planned on the head of the people there. Here is the detailed plan of al-Hiran. You can see as a new settlement that will be built there. It's designated for Jewish Haredim, Orthodox Jews, and it will be called solely Hiran. Hiran, not al-Hiran, Hiran. If there are Arabic speakers among you, they understand that is mother. So al-Hiran is the mother of the baby camels. We are the Bedouin always exaggerating when we see something. So they saw many baby camels in one place, and they say, "Oh, this is the al-Hiran, is the mom of the baby camels." So now they are going to destroy this place, and build a new settlement called Hiran. So I say always they will kill their mom by all meaning. You know, there is no which is mom. It will be solely Hiran. The Bedouin of al-Hiran ask the government, they say, we have a compromise. We want to stay here and be like part or neighborhood of the new settlement. They say, no, you have to leave first. So we will continue with the only democracy in the Middle East. So you can see and understand more. This is al-Hiran, you see, a beautiful, really village. All of them are busy and working and growing animals and making a tasty and good olive oil, everything. They don't need anything. They just need someone to leave them, stay there and live their life. And here is the detailed plan, and you see there the JNF bulldozers raising the land there and flattening everywhere and preparing the. So JNF is not really a charity organization. It is part of the process of Judaizing the space, taking the land from Bedouins, from those criminals, and give it to the poor Jewish community. This is the whole ideology, which really we all hate that. It is it's not just the issue, not because we just want to hate this. So we will jump and see Sira maybe. Sira is my village. Here is the sign. You know, in those unrecognized villages, the 35 unrecognized villages, we have no signs. If you arrive to the village, you will never know that if this is the village or not. We have no public transportation, and we don't appear in any official map. So if you arrive, you never know if you arrive to the village or to another village. But we wanted to break all that. So the first thing, we put the sign, as you can see, the sign, Sira. You put the sign. And here we put a new sign that you never know, you never meet in any place in the world. You can see deers ahead, camels ahead, kangaroos ahead, but demolitions ahead. You have to admit this is new. So we have this in the entrance of the village. This is our idea, and we like it very much. Here it's in 3 languages. You know, in Arabic and Hebrew, we have dots above the letters and under the letters. But in English, we don't have this. You have the vowel letters that make the voice. So the guy who wrote Al-Sra, he translated it literally from English. It seems that he wasn't attending English lessons. And, but we doctored that in the Photoshop and added the I. So, and here is something in Hebrew which says, established in the Ottoman period. For those who deny our rights and history. So it's established in those. Nusad betkufa Ottomanit, if you want to say that in Hebrew. Okay, more. So this is the deed of my great-grandfather, Hajj Ibrahim, when he bought the piece of the land here. And here are the British stamps that we have. And here is the signature of the sheikhs. Only 2 of them, they have their stamps. And many of them were illiterate, so they signed with their thumbs. They were good people. This is the formula. You need to have 5 of those sheikhs who agree and confirm that you bought this piece of land from XYZ. And we did, but Israel never recognized that. Here's our previous house, is Volvo. Now we have another things. And here is me. Oh, sorry. Here's me. So everything is complicated. And here is Mustafa baking bread, and here is our troublemaker Muhammad. He now growed, and he is helping us in many things, and even sometimes guiding tours. He is now 16. So what does non-recognized villages mean? As you can see, it is to exist and not to exist. Nobody knows that you are existing. Living under the threat of home demolitions always. No address. So people always ask me, what is your address? And yesterday in Aberdeen, they wanted to take my address. I have no address. So sometimes in Israel, Israelis ask me, where's your address? And I say, P.O. Box 735, Beersheba. And she said, your address? I said, this is my address. And she says, how is it the life in the books? In the P.O. books. They are teasing me, but it's okay. They don't believe that we don't have addresses. Most of the people are ignorant, really. They don't understand the life of the Bedouin. Even that they sometimes live 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers from the nearest Bedouin village. No right to vote for the local council, local elections. We only participate in the general elections, because we don't have local councils. We have local committees that I am part of them. I'm a member of that. We are volunteering, I think more. No public transportation. We're paying all the taxes, and we got very minimal things. Infant mortality is very, very high compared to the Jewish families. Very few kindergartens. We built our daycare by ourselves, but there is no running water in most of the villages. People have to carry their water. No connection to the electricity, so many families have their solar panels. No daycares, no right to ownership in the land. Endless list of no, but we have one yes, which is the bulldozer. It's always exist. Many families, you can see this, one of the families, the kids came from school and they couldn't find their toys, their books, nothing. And here, I think, is the last demolitions in the villages. Uh-huh. Yeah. So it's the last one, the last demolition. It's last 2 weeks ago when it was followed by a big demonstration in Shoket Junction, where is the family live. They claim that this road, these families are disturbing or for the rebuild or the reconstruction or expanding of the toll road, Road 6. And this is the result. This is the way the government negotiate with us. Bulldozer first. Another way to take the land from Bedouins or prevent them from cultivating the land or be in touch with the land is by blowing their things that they plant and growings like barley and wheat. What can we do in the desert? It's nothing, very, very minimum things. And after it grows, they come with the bulldozers, with the tractor, big tractors, giant ones, and they blow the land. The other thing is, other way, is to put fences around the land and say this is a natural reserve or this is a military area. This is one good way to take land. Another way is to prevent people from access to water. Access to water is very limited in the villages. If you look at these pipes, which is tiny ones like this family is privileged. They have like 25 millimeter pipe, but there are many others, they have only 20. And this is shared by 20 families, 15 families. It's not for individual family. So it's very, very small, and the water is very slow. So many families have their container on the roof, and they fill it in the night when nobody uses the water, so they can use it during the day. Other way is, it's not a good picture, but if you look carefully, you will see that the Bedouin villages are here, and the highways, with the concrete fences around, prevent the people from access to the main road. So if you have anybody who need to see the doctor or need to be in the hospital or something, emergency cases, they need to go round and round and round and round to access the main road. So this is one of the issues also that we are facing. And home demolitions. Of course, home demolitions. How can we manage without that? Here, a group of them posting the demolition orders in front of my house. It happened in 2006. It was a warning, actually. If you look at the warning, it is up to date in the door of my house. And people always ask me, why don't you remove that? Because you have already canceled all the demolition orders. And I always say that this is souvenir and a present from the only democracy in the Middle East. How can I remove it? So it's still on my door up to date. If you visit my house, and my wife always say, why shouldn't we replace this old metal door? I say we have a valuable souvenir on it, so we keep it. So they came and put the demolition, the warnings, and they didn't indicate anything. There was no name. It is written there, the house owner. They have like a checklist. They didn't check any. And they just signed. And in the top, they wrote a number. I'm 67. And my brother is 68, 69, 70, 71. We have many of these. Even more than the houses in the village. Why? For the animal pens, for the generator houses, for the mosque, everything. Just in case they need something, they have already. They just add a number in the top. And I was very anxious, very angry, and said, "Are you Nazi? You put numbers on the people? They don't have names?" They said, "You are bad. You are anti-Semitic. How can you say that?" Wait a minute. A week after, they came with the real thing, the demolition orders. They replaced the notices with demolition orders. As you can see them moving from one house to another. But we handed all these to Adala Center, and they represented us in the court 4 years, from 2006 till 2010. After 4 years, the magistrate court, which is the basic court in Israel, decided that they are canceling the demolition orders. We were very happy. A week after, Attorney Suhad Bishara called us again and they said, "Oh, I have a bad news for you." What happened? The government is appealing to a higher level. So this decision may be changed. I said, "And what do you think?" She said, "We will continue with you up to the High Court." I said, "Okay, thank you." 4 years after, 2010, now 2014, the district court, which is the middle court, decided again that these demolition orders have to be revoked, dismissed. And I was happy again, but afraid. I was suspicious because I thought that they may go and appeal again to the highest level, which is the Supreme High Court. And I was counting down 20, 45, 44, 43, 42. And she said, "Why are you counting? Stop counting." This is the High Court. It's not a game. They will not go to the High Court. 45 days passed, I don't know how, but one day she called me. "Suhad is not working on Sundays." She called me in the morning, and she was laughing. And she's a very serious woman, never laugh. And she said, "Aren't you partying?" I say, "Why should I party? Who died?" She said, "Stop being cynic." And in your cynic way always. The demolition orders died. I said, "How can they die? I have them in my hand." She said, how many days you are counting now down?" I said, "Oh, I fell asleep. I didn't count anymore." She said, "The 45 days passed last week. And now the decision of the district court is final. So the demolition order died." I said, "Oh, that's good. And when are you celebrating?" I said, "I don't know. When you want to come, we will celebrate." She said, "Now is Sunday. Next Saturday is enough for you?" I said, yeah, it's enough for us." So the 8 lawyers of Adala came, and the 8 board members of the organization came, and my Jewish friends came, and the families of Sira came, and we had a big feast in the porch of my house in Sira. So this was a very, very exciting event. So what we do, as you can see, we are demonstrating all the time here in Beersheba, but we also go sometimes to Jerusalem like this. Jerusalem to in front of the Knesset and the Parliament. Muhammad grew up and now he's helping us, as you can see. It was in the proverb time, as you can see. The shirt is very big for them, and he says, "Stop proverb, and I am invisible. because you refuse to see me. This was the slogan. This was the word that we used. And we camped in the front of the Knesset, of the parliament, as you can see, like 2 weeks without shower, but it was good also. And we spoke to politicians. This is and media. And this is my friend Ibrahim, also talked to politicians. And we met with people. This is Walter Hafner, the previous Swiss ambassador, is very, very good supporter of us. He moved, unfortunately, to another place. And you see what is the gift that we gave them. Sira. And this is the previous special rapporteur for indigenous people in the UN. He is indigenous himself, Professor James Anaya. He is the dean of the law faculty in Colorado. Very, very educated person. I met him in Geneva. And he couldn't visit us because Israel always says, we don't have indigenous people here. And one day he came to a conference in the Holy University and asked the organizers if he can visit one person. And they asked him, who is that? He said, his name is Khalil al-Amour. And they came and have lunch with us. And we finally met in Sira. Here a group of activists from Belgium was hiking and biking through all the villages and visited us several times. They were very, very good people with the shirts, as you can see, and everything. And we also strengthened our community, as you can see. We established our daycare, our mosque here. We have our water pipes. We have our electricity from generators, and then we replace them with solar panels. And we pave our dirt roads. You see, this is a friendly bulldozer, not demolishing houses, paving the road here. And I'm on the roof cleaning the solar panels here. And we go to the courts, in spite that we really don't believe that we will have the justice cases. And we partner with NGOs, we create alternative plans, and we present them to the government, but nobody listens to us. And we welcome and inform others about the situation. What we expect people to do is to bring this to your communities. You are the community, and you're coming and visiting and attending. This is too much for us. It's very, very important. Thank you very much. And to make this issue known, you can visit us like Brian and others. We always will be happy to welcome you in our home. Now we have an Airbnb, so you can stay with us, no problem. We have our mailing list. You can see them later. And much more of that. We want to thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike, for your help and support here.
Okay, so you're very happy to answer questions, Khalil.
Yes, I'm here for you.
So do we have any questions, please? Or observations or whatever? Yes?
You told us that you pass it down. Pass it down.
You can be next, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for a very interesting talk. I knew very little about the Bedouin villages. The village that was recently bulldozed, what has happened to those people, please?
Oh, unfortunately, they have a very, very sad and bad situation now. Many other Bedouin families from the neighboring villages came with the blankets and food and other supplements to rescue them and help them. Most of the women and children went to their families, and the men stayed in the field there to keep some of their properties that they could save. And we still didn't know. I left earlier and really don't exactly know what happened with them. But I'm sure that the community will stay with them and help them to at least find something that they can shelter in, like tents and others. It's very, very sad, really. 47 houses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to that question, I mean, why was that village selected? Do you know? What did they do to deserve that? Why did that village get picked out from all the others for demolition?
This village, the government claims that it blocked their way to expand the toll road, which is Route 6.
Okay.
Those families, they have a negotiation with the government, and they offered them a neighborhood in the neighboring town, the one of the under construction. You remember them, the 10 that they newly recognized. But this neighborhood, there was a conflict between them and other tribe, and they said, please don't let us go to this village. We went to this neighborhood. We went to other neighborhood, and they said, no, only this one. If not, we will demolish your houses. And they did.
Okay.
They demolished their houses.
Okay. It's a bit like sorry, you go.
Yes, please. Yeah.
You told us that you travelled to Jerusalem to demonstrate. So you can travel freely, can you?
Yes,
Yeah.
almost freely. In Israel, we can go everywhere because we are Israeli citizens and have the Israeli ID and the Israeli passport. They sometimes bother us in many ways, like your ID everywhere. Even if I'm in Jerusalem, you find the armed policemen there, and they ask me for my ID. Even if I go to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, for example, or so on, which is really, I am as a Muslim entitled to go and everything, always like that. If we go to the West Bank, it's a different story. We need to stop in the checkpoint, and they ask questions. Why are you there? What you brought with you? And the things like this. We love making the shopping there because it's cheaper than in the supermarkets in Israel. And so, and we find things that we can't find in the supermarkets, traditionally things that we need. But usually, yes, we can move in Israel and can go everywhere. Yes. Thank you.
But if you go into the West Bank, Khalil, if you drive into the West Bank, you can have problems getting back into Israel.
Into Israel?
You can get to Hebron in the West Bank, yes, but getting back home could be a problem.
Yes. No, when I get back home, if I'm alone or with my wife, they ask for our ID and ask few questions. But if I get the prevent, I take Brian with me to the West Bank.
Which you did.
Which we did. They stop. What is that? Who is that? Why are you together? Who invited them? What is he doing there? A million questions, and then they say, okay, stand with your car there aside. You can wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. They search the car, they bring all your things out. Because you are connected to foreigner, someone, it's like you are planning to destroy the country now. Everything is suspicious, deeply suspicious, and really anxious and eagering for me. It's nonsense. It's unbelievable if we do that. Even if I come with a Jewish friend, it happens the same. They say, why is he here? What is he doing? Who is it? And the funniest thing is, 2 minutes before, in front of me, settlers who live in the West Bank, you know, they pass the border, the checkpoint, nobody asks them, hello, you are a settler. Okay, pass. They open this thing, the barrier, and they can continue. But not Arabs or Bedouins, Palestinians, the same word. Yes, Mike, if you want to ask something, or no, not you. Oh, thank you very much. It's just on time.
David?
Khalil, you say that the solidarity is very important and getting support. Do you have full support within the wider Arab community in Israel and in the West Bank? Because Bedouins are quite a small
community
grouping within that. Is solidarity strong within the rest of the wider Arab community within Israel and the West Bank?
Thank you. Actually, today we have more and more awareness to the issue of the villages in the Naqab, in the Negev, and more youngest come and solidarate with us. In the past, we were isolated. Even in the 1948, it's a group of Bedouin that put them in the Siyaj area, the fence area, remember? And was disconnected from all the world, from the Arab world, and especially the Arab inside Israel, the Palestinians in the Galilee. They were a big community, and they have their culture, traditions, everything. But the Bedouin were a small group, small subgroup. Up to today, we have difficulties contacting Palestinians from the West Bank. It's always suspicious. If I say that I have friends in the West Bank, oh my God, this is a crime. It's not a crime, but they look at that like I'm a criminal. So I can't say that I was visiting a friend in Hebron. Oh, what are you doing? What is his name? What is he doing? So I say, I'm just shopping. I can't say that I am in friendship with someone in Ramallah, in Nablus, in Jenin. Oh my God, Jenin. So the Israeli Arab society is today more, I think, more active, have more political awareness, and the youngest everywhere. If we have demonstration, if we have things, they come and collaborate and take part of that. And I think this is what raise more the awareness even around the world. Is the youngest. The youngest do everything. The big demonstration that we did against the private plan in 2013, it was mostly by the youngest, the teenagers and around that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And,
This is just a personal observation.
Yes,
I
please.
have been given reasons for hope because you have presented this dreadful situation with humor and a smile on your face. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. That's encouraging. We need to do that.
one more there, yeah.
Hi, and you said you are a teacher. If you could say something to students around the world, what would you tell them so that we can help?
Oh, that's a big thing. I have two solutions. I can say I have retired, so I'm not anymore teacher. I have an early retirement 5 years ago. But I think the hope of our good future is in the hand of the new students, new people, new pupils that can carry the flag and continue. And I think the most and the biggest revolutions was made by the youngest and the students everywhere, the big demonstrations and so on. And I see the youngest today in my country, in my place, in my society, and see their contribution, their efforts, the flame of the fire that they have inside their hearts. Beside the love and hope, they give us the hope for better future. And I hope that this will spread everywhere, and we have all the students in the world that support our just and right struggle for recognition and peace and equality in this country. This is our hope.
Well, maybe I can say, Khalil, you are retired as a teacher, but Khalil also has legal training, so he now spends more time on legal work defending the rights of people in his own village and in other Bedouin villages. Is that correct, Khalil?
Yes, yes. Thanks to your support of Friends of Palestine.
Our group did help to fund
yes.
the cost of his legal training, 10, 12 years ago.
Helped me a lot to fund my studies. I did that very late. It was really an obsession for me to do something to my community, to help them. And I'm doing that for pro bono, no charge for anybody who need a consultation. Beside all that, we have also a computer in my room and a printer, so all the community can use it. We don't have internet, so it's a funny story. We had 2 antennas. One we put in the remote way and the top of the mosque in Kseifa, in the neighboring town, and one in my house, on the roof of my house. And they are, and in the basement of the mosque we have our landline phone that we are paying for. The antenna in the mosque, on the top of the mosque, broadcasts the signals to my home. And from my home, it's connected to the router. Mm-hmm. So people can come and use it. The surrounding houses have we broadcast the internet signals to them. But the other families that are far enough from the house, they can come, use our computer, and use even the printer. And we never ask anybody for any payment or something. It's open. And we promised ourselves and the people that it will be always open. So the people, the students that need to search to find their work and homework will use it. Yeah.
Another question here.
Can I ask you about the courts? You spoke about a favourable judgment from the
yes.
court. You know, we live in a country and in the USA where the courts are under constant attack from the government. What's the relationship between the Israeli government and the courts like?
Wow, it's a complicated issue. I think the courts in Israel is in very sensitive situation. They need always how can I say that? The trust of the public and the people. They cannot be enough courageous, I think, to do such things. They need to be always in the consensus. Need to, how can I say that? They're not courageous enough to say that the Bedouin have the right on their lands. They cannot do that. If they do that, they will be slaughtered. They will be killed. Literally. Nobody will accept that. You know, sometimes they say, in the Palestinian issues, you know, they say that these Palestinians that committed something, I know, had a bomb in such a place and injured 2 Israelis or killed 1 or killed 2, I don't know. They come to destroy his house. And let's say that the court says, No, it's not legal to destroy all the house because the family is there. You can destroy his room or block it. They will have a big argument about that. They will think that those are. Some people today talk about the court, describe it in this way, that they are terror supporters. About the judge in the High Court, Arab supporters, Palestinian supporters, anti-Israeli, anti-Zionist, which is it's a big problem. So I think they are not free enough and courageous enough to do what they think and believe. They always in sensitive situation to be, in the middle of doing things and stay in life, stay safe, in the safe side. So that's why we not really rely on the Israeli court and Israeli law system. That's why we need, in a democratic real estate, that's why I'm laughing always at the democratic state. It's not really democratic state. We don't have a constitution. So everything is flexible like a dough. You can put it like this. You can make a pita. You can make it a cake, whatever you like. So it's very flexible. So they don't have a tough background or back that they can rely on it and say, this is not legal, this is not human, this is not this. They cannot say. They need to be, like we say that in Arabic, we go in the drops, between the drops, not to get wet, like this. This is what they are doing. I am a lawyer, I can't say all that, but I am doing that because I believe that this is the situation. And many Arabs don't believe in the legal system. That's why youngest want to demonstrate and demonstrate. And even not in the political side, because we are a small marginal minority. We have 10 members out of 120, which is nothing in Israel.
Okay, well, I think maybe we could draw the questions to a close. Just a couple of announcements, please. There will be tea and coffee and cake down at the bottom when we close the meeting, so please avail yourself of that. There won't be any charge for that, but I've got a couple of collecting boxes. We have a regular commitment to the Shafat refugee camp in East Jerusalem, who are also having a bad time now. We also support an organisation, a UK-based charity called Hope and Play, which provides support for children in Gaza and is doing so even as we speak, despite the situation in Gaza. They provide art and sport classes and so on, but also they provide therapy for severely traumatised Gazan children. There were plenty of those before last October. There are even more since then. So I'll put 2 collecting boxes down there. So if you'd like to put the odd pound or 2 in, that will be very gratefully received. And Nadia is here. Amnesty and Orkney Friends of Palestine, we work very closely together. There are some cards and things for sale for Amnesty on the table outside, so please have a look at those. And there are also some pamphlets about Friends of Palestine, what we do, about the Shufat camp I mentioned a minute ago, about Hope and Play. So please do take one of those as well. But maybe we can express our appreciation. And you will be around for private discussions with individual people.
Anytime.
I mean, I think we're entitled to stay here until 10 o'clock, so we do have some time. Okay? Thank you very much. I hope you found that very useful, like I did.